Of course, if you're going to make Star Wars fan films, one thing you need in addition to lightsabers are blasters. So I decided to go ahead and make a couple of those. And this is my version of the Imperial blaster that the stormtroopers carried. In the original movie, that was the prop for that was made from a modified British Sterling submachine gun that was Army surplus. I don't have any Sterling submachine guns sitting around, so I decided to use PVC pipe for that instead. So the body of this is just an 18-inch long piece of 1 1/4-inch PVC pipe that I painted black. And if you look inside here, I drilled a whole bunch of holes through it. And these are pieces of foam rubber insulation that thread inside those holes to make sort of like air vents around the outside. The front end is a PVC plug that I glued inside there and drilled a hole through the middle of it to make the barrel end. This is just a tin can that I glued on the side here for an ammo port, and the butt end is just a butt cap that screws onto the end of the pipe. The handle on this one I just cut from plywood and painted it and glued it on there. If you want to get real fancy about it, you can take a water pistol and use a Dremel tool to cut the handle off of that and glue it up underneath there. The scope is just made from a couple of pieces of scraps that I had laying around. This is another PVC plug, and these are pieces of a long gasoline funnel that I cut off and painted black and glued on there, and that turned out pretty good. And then I took the whole scope and screwed it onto a piece of wood, and then screwed the piece of wood down onto the top of the blaster, and it turned out pretty good. This is the blaster that was used by the rebels. The first time we saw it was in the opening scene of the original Star Wars, A New Hope, where the Death Star captures the blockade runner, and the troops are coming in through the hallway. So to do this, it's pretty much the same process as for the stormtrooper blaster. It's a piece of PVC pipe. On the end there's a butt cap that fits on. At this end, what I did was cut off part of a funnel and glued that on there. And in the very end, I had an old drill chuck lying around that I thought looked pretty good glued in there, so that's what I used. You don't have to do that if you want to. You can just use the end of the funnel, and that works just as well. These are just some strips of plastic from a plastic for sale sign that I cut into strips and glued all the way around there. The handle on this one is plywood too, but if you want to make it look even better, you can use a water pistol for that. The scope is an 8-inch piece of PVC nipple. That's the kind that's threaded at both ends. At this end, I threaded a coupling that looks sort of like the end of a scope. And at this end, on the inside, there's a little piece of wooden dowel with a nail that I painted red stuck into it. And over top of that, I took a little plastic piece from a shampoo bottle and glued that on, and that looks pretty good. And then I screwed the entire scope onto this piece of wood, and then screwed the piece of wood down onto the top of the blaster, and that turned out pretty good too.